It's so funny. In 2005, Don King tried suing Walt Disney for 2.5 billion for defamation.
You know, he's a bastard when it comes to money, and even Mike Tyson in his latest documentary said that he actually beat him up. Especially
It's got his name, mate. Don Fuck 'em Over King.
Yeah, well. Hi guys and girls, welcome back to Fighters Talk TV. Me and my pal Max, how you doing, bud?
Yeah, I'm all good, guys. Are you?
So yeah, not bad. Today, boxing history. We're going to talk about a legend in the sport, for good and bad, and we're not going, we're not going to hold back. We're going to sort
Not
of
bad, I think.
certainly go out there and talk about it. So today, guys, we're talking about Don King, the legendary figure in the world of boxing. Now, for more than 4 decades, right, this guy's been one of the most prominent promoters in the sport and working with some of the biggest names in boxing history. And we're going to look at his life, his career, and his legacy, and everything in between. I like to start with how old the guy is, right? Okay, so he was born on August 20th in 1931, which means he's fucking old. Yeah. So he's in his 90s now. He grew up in poverty. He was raised by his mum. She was a cleaner. He dropped out of high school. He went to prison for manslaughter after he killed a man allegedly in self-defense. He was granted clemency. Yeah, I know. He was granted clemency. He left prison. He went to New York and he began working as a bookie and he became involved. He was like promoting music, concerts, and then he expanded into promoting into boxing.
Yeah, listen, I heard that he even, it's only allegedly that he was actually involved with the Teflon Don, John Gotti of the New York Mafia.
Well, do you know what? Every time Don King's name's brought into something, there's some sort of involvement. I mean, we know Don King isn't a fan of the show because he had one of our videos taken down, Don King Productions, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
And we sort of live, move and fight another day. I mean, what people can't deny is he has made a massive impact on the sport, whether it be negatively. And he's given some of us fans, let's be honest, he's given us fans Muhammad Ali fights, Mike Tyson fights, Evander Holyfield fights. So we can't knock him too much because he has brought to us some really good fights.
He's brought the biggest names to the ring, it might have been the best person, but he knows how to pull in spunk fans.
Well, do you know what? And there's one of the biggest controversies that I hear about him all the time was the fact that, he's a bastard when it comes to money. And even Mike Tyson in his latest documentary said that he actually beat him up because of it.
Yes.
And he sued him and he lost hundreds of millions and only ever got back 20. That's worse than that's good compared to what he did to Muhammad Ali, right?
Yeah, well, I've got it here saying that Muhammad Ali even put a lawsuit against him, and Don King pulled out up his sleeve Ali's mate, Jeremiah Shabazz, and he handed him over a briefcase with $50,000 in it and a letter which he handed to Muhammad Ali, and then the case was never going to court after that. So whatever's in that letter must have been something pretty powerful for him not to go further with it and only accept 50,000 because obviously he was going for millions.
Yeah, definitely. So,
what was in that letter? That's what I would like to know.
Oh, if that came available on the open market, it could be worth a few quid. Now, Don King, his first big break actually was in 1974. He promoted the Rumble in the Jungle between Muhammad Ali and George Foreman in Zaire, right? Now, it was a huge success, and a lot of people think probably one of the greatest fights in boxing history. Now, there was a lot of controversy around that because it was alleged that he was paid huge amounts of money by the Zaire government, never passing that on to the fighters and keeping it. And also there was things, he used to get his son to work for some of the fighters and charge extortionate amounts of money for his services, in which he did nothing, I heard.
Listen, I wouldn't put anything past him. Like I said before in our other video, he's a crook.
But you don't hold back, son. You just come straight out with it. No,
listen,
Mr. King, notice if you're watching this video, it was Max. Yeah, it weren't me.
Yeah, I'm here. Hospital or cemetery? What one you want?
Well, that's it. That's it. Okay, so while his promotional skills undeniable, right? He's faced a mega amount of controversies, legal challenges throughout his whole career. He's been accused of embezzlement, tax evasion, fraud, several lawsuits over. In 1984, he was charged with second-degree murder for the death of his business associate, but was acquitted after a lengthy trial. I think that was the other one you're talking about.
Yes, it was. His first victim was Hillary Brown, who he shot dead. And the second victim was Sam Garrett, who he stamped to death over $600. I mean, when you owe Don King money, it's not allowed, but when he owes other people money, go fuck yourself.
Well,
know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a lot of people out there we know in this world about that, right? I mean, but despite all the controversies he's actually had, he remains such a major force in the boxing world. He's still boxing to promote now, and I think Daniel Dubois was actually suing him because he didn't pay his bill, right? He didn't pay his bill. I'm assuming that's all done and dusted now.
Doing something funny. In 2005, Don King tried suing Walt Disney for $2.5 billion for defamation. And then
defamation,
lost it because defamation. But he lost it because everything they were saying about him was true.
Well, there goes the lesson, right? So slander and defamation of character can't happen if it's true. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, just remember that, Don, when you listen to this.
Exactly. So the other thing as well is, right, some people they saw him as a visionary promoter, and obviously they based a character. I believe they based a character on him in I think it was Rocky V. With Tommy Gunn. Yeah, with Tommy. I think it was actually basically, only in America, which is something that Don King said. So I think that character was based on him, whether he was or wasn't. It certainly sort of was a likeness, in my opinion. But this is the sort of thing that people don't realise, for the good, the bad, and the indifferent. For the fight fan, he's actually done very well for the sport. For the fighters, he wasn't so good. But then the fight fan gives him money, right? And the fighter wants to take it away. So, yeah.
Listen, I've got something here which I might read out. This was actually written and quoted by Mike Tyson himself. He's saying that Don King did more bad to black fighters than any white promoter did in the history of boxing. And that's a powerful statement to make.
Yeah. Yeah, but, I think if you look at Don King's repertoire, the word fuck 'em over seems to appear quite a bit in it. And especially when you look at
mate, Don fuck 'em over King.
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, to me, it just seems the way it is, all these people making all these allegations. And, you've got to upset Mike Tyson for him to punch the shit out of you inside of a hotel and seeing some couple of old ladies, he said, were watching him. Couldn't quite believe it, I mean, you've got to take it, right? His impact on the boxing world, you cannot overstate it. Yeah, you really can't.
No.
He'll bring the sport to new heights, new popularity, new amounts of money. His promotional skills are still studied and emulated today, really are. You look at the likes of Eddie Hearn and how he works, there you can see some King-esque sort of things in there. He launched the careers of so many boxers, Ali, Tyson, Holyfield,
Holmes.
Exactly. But his legal troubles, I mean, they've just been so complex, so controversial. It's done so much, he's had so much personal flaws.
It might have been like the bad egg of boxing and all that, but you've got to think, right, back in 1997, right, it was awarded honours in International Boxing Hall of Fame, right? And then in 2008, the Gaming Hall of Fame. And then in 2015 and 16, they renamed streets after him. Was one of the streets was a street in Newark called New Jersey, renamed the Don King Way, right? And then you got in 2016, Shaker Boulevard in Cleveland was renamed Don King Way. For such a bad man, some states love him.
Well, I think everybody's got a dark past, right? And I think especially when you're in that sort of thing,
Listen, I think boxing in the olden days was quite a dark and seedy world, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, let's just concentrate. I know I don't want to concentrate all the time on his negativity, but it was tarnished what could have been an incredible career. But you have to ask yourself that back in the day, you know, boxers were always being exploited. You know, I remember fighters talking to me about how they were fighting for 50 quid, and we talked about Canelo. You know, he was fighting for 40 quid, always exploited. And he was going to $40, and he was going to then sort of give up the sport. But let's just look at some of the controversies, right? So embezzlement and fraud. You know, he was accused of that on several occasions in 1979, the year I was born. He was indicted on charges of wire fraud for allegedly stealing $1 million from an insurance company. In 92, he was sued by former heavyweight champion Larry Holmes in breach of contract and fraud, and he was ordered to pay $1 million in damages to Larry Holmes, okay? Then you've got allegations of exploiting boxers. He was accused of exploiting and mistreating boxers from start to finish, paying them low purses, taking large cuts of their earning. He was accused of coercing boxers into signing exclusive contracts with him and forcing them to fight against their will. I mean, this is something that's bollocks. Nowadays, if you look at the fighters are actually the boss now. You know, Eddie Hearn, you know, I work for AJ don't work for me. Which is the right way about it, because these guys put their lives on the line whenever you set and pull on a set of gloves. Even in sparring, I see it so many times that people get hurt. You know, especially when you fight guys my size. You know.
Yeah, and it is a brutal world out there in the boxing world. You know what I mean? And not everyone makes it. And I think it's down to the promoter. You know, we could slag off Don King, but he done what he done, and he pulled in the money. That's what it's about, the money.
I mean, his legal troubles go on further than that, mate. I mean, he was involved, obviously, in a number of legal disputes in law throughout his career, but in 1984, charged with second-degree murder. That's something bad, isn't it, when you're charged with that for the death as a business associate. Obviously acquitted, we've talked about that before, but he was also sued by heavyweight champion Mike Tyson for breach of contract in 98. So everybody sees it. And also, racism. He was accused of making racist remarks and engaging in discriminatory practice in 95, and he was sued by 2 former employees. You know, he's made so many controversial statements, flamboyant personality or great grandioso statements, which often generated controversy. In 1983, he famously declared that he had killed a man in the ring, referring to the death of boxer Cleveland Williams, which he claimed was caused by injuries sustained in a fight against Muhammad Ali, and King promoted that. These are the things, right? And when we talk about controversy, when we talk about people who leave not the best taste in legacy, Deontay Wilder was on this sort of course when he said he wanted a body on his record.
Yeah.
If you remember, and I think that
that's not a sort of thing you can say today. You know what I mean? I want a body on my resume. That's not a good thing. What's that? Promoting for these up-and-coming boxers, like you can get in the ring, kill someone, and get away with it.
Listen, in the ring is the only place where you can kill someone and get away with it. This is in the name.
How he's saying it is like, just get in the ring, punch someone up, and kill them. It's all right, get away with it. Don't worry about it. Yeah, that's not the way you should be promoting it to all these young up-and-coming fighters.
I mean, listen, I've been in the ring a lot, many years ago now, and I say this when I talk to people. If people say to me, you know, do you have any regrets when you're boxing? I say I have a couple. The first thing is nobody actually sits down and tells you the dangers that are involved in this. Okay. Yeah. And there is a lot of people out there who get hurt, who don't understand the dangers and don't understand the lifelong effects of boxing. Okay. Now, if you do, and you still do the sport, because it is a sport, I love the sport, and I would never do anything that I feel would bring it into jeopardy. You know, watch it all the time. I live, breathe, eat and shit it. And I just think that for me, if someone was to say to me, you know, in years to come, you know, my nose it aches all the time in the cold weather, my hands because of the arthritis in my knuckles hurts, I've got no back teeth where the gum shields in the olden days didn't go all the way to the back, so I broke the back teeth roots. I think that you know, just how it is, you know, but the things it gave me, you know, far outweighed the things it cost me. But when you've got When you've got when you've got someone saying there, I want a body on my resume. Every boxer who steps into that ring, whether it be a sparring ring, whether it be down a local fight club, whether it be professional boxing, everybody who pulls a pair of gloves in that ring deserves respect. Deserves absolute respect, because at the end of the day, this is a dangerous sport. This is a really, really dangerous sport. I mean, you look at it. I'm going to compare this quickly. Sorry, Max, to the UFC. Let me tell you something. Yeah. When someone fights in the UFC, 60-70% of the fights end in a chokeout of some sort of thing. Okay. Yeah. And the injuries that happen inside of the MMA world are not the same injuries. But exactly, I mean, and when you get someone like Deontay Wilder going off on one, saying he needs a body on his resume, you get someone like Don King going, Muhammad Ali killed him, and all the rest of it. That ain't funny, and it ain't serious. There's been too many boxers die in that ring. There's too many people that it's very public knowledge. There was one not so long ago in Hull who died, and he was basically doing the white collar boxing, the black tie boxing, whatever you want to call it, and he's dead. Yeah. And I ask anybody, how do you think their families feel? This is something that people want to do because they love what they do. People want to fight because it's nature's way of who rules what, basically, and who's the best, and that's how it is, and it's a sport that I love. Anyway, mate, anything else on Don King before we wrap this one up? See, Max has taken loads of notes.
Yes, well, I've got to go through them all.
The funny thing, I was saying to Max off air, guys and girls, I said, you've never done this much fucking homework in your life. Now you've started doing the boxing channel. There's reams of it. Give them show the folks at home what you do. Go on, pick up all those bits of paper.
Wait a minute, I've got all this. This. That's just for tonight. I've got to put away the other notes. I'm doing it
here. Brilliant. I mean, this is what it takes, guys and girls. You want to do a show, you want to get there. It's lots of research. There's lots of stuff we talk about, and we talked about this for years and years and years. And we thought, well, we might as well just bring it all together, innit? Let you guys. Well, let us know what you think, guys, in the comments below. Tell us what your opinions are of Don King. If we've missed anything out or we've ballsed anything up, we do apologise. Anyway, guys, once again, massive kudos to Don King. You've left a very lasting legacy on the sport. I give you credit for that, but I also think you've made a few negative things. But actually, as long as everybody's learnt the lesson, and as long as everybody changes towards the future, and I think it has, and a lot of things have been righted because of Don King's wrongs, it can probably be credited with that. But anyway, guys, don't forget, like and subscribe to the channel, and me and Max will be back very, very soon with the next edition of Boxing History. Take care.
Catch you later.